So we're going to take off here from Addison. What is different about an airplane and a car is that airplane you steer with your feet on the ground. Okay, so this isn't going to do anything when you're moving. All right, and there's no gas pedal either.
Oh.
So you can't push your right foot in and go, because right foot's got to turn you to the right.
So wipe out all knowledge of
Pretty
driving.
much,
Okay.
yeah, pretty much. Your gas pedal is now that, right there, that black knob.
Okay.
Full in is full gas, and then all the way out, which is what it's at now, is no gas,
Okay.
which is what we want.
And,
All right, so what I want you to do is, yep, you're doing it right. Just kind of give it a little gas and let it go a little bit, and then kind of feel those feet. It's really sensitive here. The airplane isn't nearly this sensitive. And when you finally get the hang of it, go ahead and put it all the way in. So turn it a little bit to the right.
Can the volume be turned up a bit?
Actually, no, it's about a touch.
Is that right? Oh, because they share here with other simulators?
Yeah, now we're taking off. What I want you to do is if you pull back, the nose comes up. You push forward, the nose comes down. What I want you to do is pull back so you can barely see that horizon.
Okay.
So now you can't see it at all, so the nose is a little bit too high.
Okay. So can I take my feet off the pedals? Yes?
Yeah, for now you can. Not in the real airplane. That gets into more advanced stuff. Yep, and now that you're in the air, now it kind of steers like a car, if you will. This will turn you right, this will turn you left. When you pull back, you go up.
When are we going to be ready to go?
Probably about half an hour.
Okay. I'll put you on 246.
Okay.
I should do that. 56.
Oh, okay.
If not, I'll put you at 257.
Alright.
Make sure you got fuel.
Yeah.
To the tabs?
To the tabs, please, yeah. Thanks.
So if I want to do a barrel roll.
Why don't you try it?
Oh.
I'll tell you, it's not that easy.
Kind of looks like we're flying in the desert here.
Yeah, these simulators are actually used for instrument training. What that means is flying through clouds. So outside doesn't really work well here, but you're doing well. For the climb, this is what it's going to look like in the real airplane. You want it so you can't see, or so that nose is touching the horizon. In this case, we can't see the nose because it's a simulator. So what I usually tell my students is make it so you can just barely see that horizon.
Okay.
Yep. And this is called attitude flying. We're looking outside. We're not looking inside of instruments. Flying small airplanes is a lot more about feel and sight than it is about looking at the instruments.
Okay.
And we climbed up high enough for now, so why don't you push forward on that nose
Okay.
and then turn right so those wings are level. There you go. And what I want you to do is make half the screen fill up with ground and half with the sky. And if you see too much sky, push forward on the yoke a little bit. And since we're not climbing anymore either, why don't you take the power out about 3/4 of the way. That's good right there. Alright, so it needs to be half, the screen needs to be filled up with half ground and half sky.
Okay.
There we go.
You're pretty good. I already feel safe.
Yeah, it's actually going to be a little different because it's going to be nighttime outside, so it's going to be hard to see that horizon.
Yeah.
But you can discern the horizon by the lights
Okay.
and the no lights and the stars, basically.
And the instruments, which I'm sure later you're going to point out.
What's that?
Some of the instruments, the artificial horizon.
Yeah, actually, yeah, I'll get into that.
Yeah, that's what I said, yeah. Later you'll get to it.
That's Dallas Love Field right there.
Okay.
It's about 6-7 miles south of us. It's where all the Southwest jets are. And the instruments here. That's these 6 instruments are your basic flight instruments. They're going to tell you how fast you're going, how high you're going, basic information like that. This is your speedometer, if you will, or airspeed indicator. All right, and it indicates in nautical miles per hour, not in miles per hour like cars are. So this one is saying 110. So we're going 110 knots, which is roughly 130 miles an hour.
Okay.
I'll skip this for now, and I'll get back to it in a second. That's your altimeter, and it's telling you how high you are. They're reading like a clock. The long hand is the hundreds, and the short hand is the thousands. So what does that say right there?
Long hand's 100, 500, 3,500.
Exactly, right, 3,500 feet. This right here shows you what direction you're headed. In a car, you just follow a road. It's going to take you somewhere. In the the airplane, you can go any direction, so we know exactly which direction we're heading. That's what it's called, the heading indicator. And in this case, we're heading directly south, so that estimates the north, east, and west. And it's divided up by, these long ones here are each 10 degrees, so 180, 190, 200, 210 degrees, and it's further divided up into every 5 degrees. This instrument right here tells you how fast you're climbing up or down in feet per minute. So this is saying about 500 feet per minute. Now this right here, you can see this changes when that changes, and it changes with it. Basically, it's an artificial horizon, or an attitude indicator.
Okay.
And the attitude means the relation of your nose relative to the horizon outside. Now, when we're flying what's called visual flying, we're looking outside, we don't even need this, because we have outside to look at.
Right. But later we will.
Yeah, when you get into instrument flying, I have no idea what the hell was. Turbulence? So you can see how that moves with the outside.
Yes.
But when you're flying visually, I don't even like my students looking at that. I want them looking outside, because that's going to tell you what this tells you, but you have a greater picture. Plus, outside is prettier. Why not look outside? Why look inside? And this right here is a turn coordinator, and what it is, it's also used more for instrument flying, but it shows you how fast you're turning, your rate of turn, in degrees per second. Now, it's not really marked in discrete terms, but that notch right there, why don't you turn right just a little bit?
Okay. So
See how
far
it's
right?
turning? The faster, let's stop the turn here, so you just neutralize controls like that. Perfect. What it's telling you is you're turning about 3 degrees per second. So that is changing 3 degrees for every second.
Okay.
Yep. It's not telling you that the airplane's banking that much. That ball, what it's saying is you have to use the rudder in a turn. In the airplane, you can't just turn the airplane by turning that. You actually have to use rudder with it.
Right.
Yeah, and what that ball indicates is which rudder to press. So what you want is that ball right in the middle.
Okay.
If it's too far to the left, you hit the left rudder. What people say is to step on the ball.
Mm-hmm.
What I tell my students is feel the airplane.
Okay.
So I'm really big on looking outside and feeling the airplane. I don't tell them anything about these instruments from the first flight lesson. So that's the basic controls of an airplane. Almost every single general aviation airplane has these 6 instruments. They're actually working now towards what's the word? Glass cockpits,
Mm-hmm.
where all
Actually,
this
this is a glass cockpit right here.
I guess it is. If you look at the screen right there, yeah.
It's a monitor. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a analog representation of a glass cockpit, I guess. Actually, some Boeing 737s have the glass cockpits, but they display instruments like this.
That's right.
They have the option to display instruments like this. That way, airline pilots that were used to this, because airliners used to have these simple instruments like this, they can either have the simple way, or these are only radio navigation. We don't really deal with those very much during private pilot training, but it's more for instrument training.
There are a couple of things in there.
These 4 instruments right here all have to do with the engine and the fuel. Fuel tank gauge is like in a car. You know, when your read's empty, you better start looking for someplace to land soon. Oil pressure and temperature, just like in a car. These are a little bit more for, I don't want to say for airplanes, but they help you read your engine better. You know, see how your engine is doing. EGT is exhaust gas temperature, how hot the exhaust is, basically. And CHT is cylinder head temperature, the temperature of the cylinder head, inside the cylinder. Alright, I'm going to put you in front of a runway, and we'll land the airplane. Actually, let's land from over here. No, let's land from over there.
You're gonna land the airplane. I'm gonna go behind, so I don't have to see you crash. I'm just joking.
Okay.
Come on. No, I think you're gonna do great. You really have you got a knack for this.
What I want you to do is keep that runway right in the center of the screen.
Alright, let me get there.
Ladies and gentlemen, please fasten your seatbelts, bend over, and kiss your butts goodbye.
We may experience
Captain Crash is taking us in.
That's a new nickname for me. Okay.
No,
Why is it so hard to do it right here?
It is difficult to align it, but what you want to do is get on the center line first, and then correct it and put it in the middle.
May I propose something, sir?
Yes.
Teacher? We tend to overcorrect with aircraft, and you know, a little tap on, even simulators, a little tap on the left, right, it takes the aircraft a few seconds or a second or two to
stabilize,
react. So don't overcorrect.
That's with everything in flying. You're never going to be perfect. You're
Yeah.
always going to correct, but you're always going to strive for that perfection.
Yeah.
You know, and just if you're off center line, that's okay. If you're a little high, that's okay. Just be correcting.
And one last thing for you to know, and always remember, a good landing is the one that you walk away from.
That is true.
Yeah,
Great
well,
landing.
Rule.
Take some of that power out about halfway where it is right now. A little bit more.
good?
Yep, that's perfect. Now just keep that runway right in the middle.
Right.
Keep the power just a little bit more. We were pretty high to begin with.
You want to go down? Alright, it's getting closer.
Go ahead and take that power all the way out. You see how the runway, the center line isn't really going straight up?
Mm-hmm.
Relative to you, it's kind of going to the
Get over it.
yeah, we're a little bit too far to the right. Yeah, a little bit too much.
Yeah, overcorrect.
That's okay.
The crash is coming, are you ready?
No, people are called Captain Crashes because they don't crash.
Oh, okay.
Please don't.
So now it's going to be
All right, now before we hit the round, in a second here, right, you just pull back, just to stop that descent rate. Not quite yet. We're still okay there.
Alright.
I think we're going to call
I'm
it
dancing up here.
Captain
Okay.
Bounce. Because that's what's
Now
coming.
let's pull it back.
Okay.
Not too far.
Overcorrect. There you go. You got it. You got it. You got it. You got
Look
it.
to the left.
Don't turn too hard.
There we go. Right on the pavement.
You got it. You got it.
Okay. Not too bad.
No, it was good on the runway.
Yeah, on the runway. I think we lost part of the wingtip.
Maybe so.
Like the Air France.
Air right wheel.
Like the Air France plane, you remember?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
But you brought us down. Hey!
Yay!